So I don't know if Netflix is ever going to beat these rigged allegations.
My cookie broke and I got passed and I was really surprised.
There's a story out there that none of the other squids is talking about. There was a lot of anger in there.
Well, 2 of the contestants claim they got hypothermia and nerve damage on the show, and now want compensation.
First of all, I want to say 2 things. 1, I was never really into reality shows like Survivor or Big Brother growing up. And 2, I loved the original Squid Games that came out in 2021. I was very hesitant and honestly wasn't even going to watch the show when I first learned what it was, but my For You page was absolutely flooded with clips and memes from the show, to the point that I virtually had to watch just to understand what was going on. My fiance and I started watching and watched over 70% of the show in one sitting, and I had to work early the next morning. I was pretty much instantly hooked on it overall and thought the editing and production team deserved a huge amount of props. If it wasn't scripted like the rumors say online, they made what was probably thousands of hours of footage into essentially an amazing highlight reel. However, we're not here for that. Besides the show at its base concepts, let's talk about some of the scandals, like Netflix being sued for contestant conditions and the rumors of the entire challenge being rigged from the very first game. The opening scene of the show features the iconic scene from the original predecessor with the large plastic doll facing over 400 contestants. The rules are simple. When the doll's back is turned and singing, players can advance to the safe zone. However, if they get caught moving when she turns around, they are instantly eliminated. The players seemingly play like normal, with just over 100 people eliminated in the very first game. The entirety of the red light green light scene only lasts a little under 15 minutes. However, that's just an editing choice. See, while us as viewers get the main juicy bits from the game, the contestants themselves were playing this for a grueling 6 hours or more. Contestants interviewed said that there would be stretches of up to 30 to 40 minutes being stuck in a standing position, while to us, it looked like the whole game only lasted 5 minutes. In the final cut, they make it seem like we did the game in 5 minutes. We were there for at least 6 exhausting hours. I remember I didn't finish filming until 1 a.m. the next day. This spawned a bit of stir on the internet, which I am dubbing the squatter. The squatter was player 385, and to us, it looked like they had been squatting for just a few moments and couldn't handle it. But in reality, they could have been squatting for 20 plus minutes already. According to player 191, show producers indicated that players would have to hold their positions for roughly 5 minutes when frozen for proper shooting coverage, but in reality, players had to hold their positions for up to 45 minutes. This brings some much needed exoneration to poor player 385, who enters her freeze in a squat, mutters, "Why did I squat?" and then promptly tumbles over. Now, obviously to us as viewers, like I said, it looks like she just fell over after doing a squat for a few minutes. All former players on TikTok agree that she held that squat like a hero for nearly an hour before her body couldn't take it anymore. The internet berated 385 for basically giving up and saying, "Why did I squat?" in the face of more than $4 million. But realistically, if you were up to the task of that much money, how long could you squat? One more thing from the red light green light controversy was the room temperature. This was filmed in London, which isn't obviously known for its warm palm tree-like atmosphere. It was said that it was less than 40 degrees in that room in just those little tracksuits for over 8 hours. Apparently they were given little hand warmers, and that's why most of the contestants, when they're frozen, have their hands in their pockets.
So if you haven't heard already, I'm on Netflix Squid Games The Challenge. This is me playing red light green light, about to cross the line in second place. But why have I got my hands in my pockets? So this is me, player 215, and I crossed the line second, but what it doesn't show you on the show is that this took 6 hours. So if you haven't seen the show, it'll show us running for 5 seconds and then we have to freeze. But what you don't see is we actually had to stand frozen for 40 minutes or 30 minutes at a time. So it literally took 5 or 6 hours to get across the line. It was easily the hardest game, but I managed to finish second because I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Now, with each episode costing over $1 million to make, you would hope they would have some kind of a heating system. Now it is coming out that there are even some contestants submitting legal suits against Netflix, saying that the show caused them to get hypothermia and nerve damage.
The 2 players are threatening legal action, and according to their lawyers, they had to stay motionless for hours in cold temperatures while filming. They said one of the contestants' hands turned purple from the cold. In the show, players had 5 minutes to finish the task, but actually it took up to 7 hours to finish the game, according to one contestant. A show spokesperson said no lawsuit had been filed, adding, "We take the welfare of our contestants extremely seriously."
Netflix has come out releasing a statement saying that all contestants were provided with proper conditions and safety was a big priority. So in the face of $4.5 million, do you think that these players were being overly dramatic, maybe butthurt when they lost, or was this challenge actually a bit too extreme? Now, one more thing we're going to touch on is the contestants claiming in interviews that the entire show was rigged. One of the most noticeable being the mother and son duo 301 and 302. Some contestants have come out to claim that Trey's mom was specifically given more time to make it in red light, green light. Contestants have said that she would have been eliminated as the timer was about to go out and she was still too far behind. But the producers focused on an angle of Trey's crying, waiting for his mother, that they eventually let her cross. This in conjunction with some players safely making it across, and their squid pack still going off eliminating them. This is all alleged, and I mean, come on, if that wouldn't have happened, if it did, then we would have never got the Trey and his mom playing marbles. That was iconic. One more instance of the show being rigged was specific influencer-like players were given real mics, while other players were given dummy mics. This might explain why we only saw a few prominent figures. Hell, I didn't even know who Phil was until he made it to the top 9, let alone the top 3. Now, this raises the question of how would they have coverage for all of those contestants, especially those who got out early. I mean, why would us as the audience even care about them? Every show needs its main characters, and it needs characters that we want to latch onto, and we can't do that with 456 people.
We all know that reality shows manipulate scenarios and make careful edits to ensure certain outcomes.
I think that Looper puts it really good here when they talk about how editing makes the show specific, not necessarily rigged. No matter what, can we just be happy that Ashley got eliminated? But in all seriousness, do I think the show was rigged? No. But I do think the show had a lot of production magic to make it look like a completely different narrative to what the interviews are saying online. Now, obviously, in defense of the contestants, most of them are on an NDA, which means non-disclosure agreement, which means they're basically not allowed to talk about it. So maybe there will be even more of rigged controversies that come up when these NDAs expire, probably around season 2, if not years to come. Do you believe that it was a fair game, or do you think that there has to be some kind of rigging because after all, it is a TV show?